Hi, this is Matt with Premier Electronic Solutions, and today we're going to discuss how do I pick the best AV receiver for my surround sound system. The AV receiver is really like the heart of your system because everything connects to it, whether it's the video display, your TV, or your projector, all the sources, whether it's like a Roku, an Apple TV, a cable box, DVD player, um, everything routes through it. So it routes video, it routes audio, it processes the sound, sends it to the right speakers, powers the speakers. It's kind of the one key thing that ties everything together. But there's so many different options in surround sound receivers. How do you pick the right one? And that's what we're going to look at today. We're going to break this discussion down into 5 different things to consider. The first thing is the most basic, and that is how many channels do you need for your surround sound system? And that'll be determined by, are you looking to do a 5.1 system, which is the most basic and traditional? Are you looking to do a step up 7.1 system? Or are you looking to do an Atmos system, which could be 9 channels or 11 channels? So by looking at how you want to put that into your room, that will eliminate certain receivers right away, because obviously if you want to do a 7-channel system and the receiver only has 5, that gets eliminated. On the other hand, if you want to do a 5-channel setup, almost any receiver will work. The second thing to ask is, what sources am I going to connect to this AV receiver? If it's all newer components like digital things like an Apple TV or a Roku, newer cable box, pretty much any receiver will have enough HDMI ports for you to connect that onto there. However, if you've got a great number of sources, you'll need to make sure that you've got a sufficient number of HDMI inputs if they're newer. And I guess a bigger concern is if you're trying to tie in any older sources, like you've got a VHS player you still want to use, or you've got a DVD player, older DVD player, or even a laser disc player, and you want to connect those, do they have the analog video connections that you need to make that happen? So that's an important consideration. The third thing to consider will be the size of the room that you're installing your home theater in. So if we've got a small space, like say we're converting a secondary bedroom to our home theater area, the space is fairly tight. We don't need a lot of power in there to give us a nice full sound, where if we had a big open great room, which is fairly common these days, maybe we've only got really 2 walls in our great room, or 1, maybe we got a high ceiling, maybe it's open to the kitchen and open to the dining room. The sound is really going to spread out and dissipate. So in a bigger room, a big space like that, we need more power in order to have the same perceived volume in the room. The fourth thing will be, what speakers are you using? Because every speaker has different needs. And we've got to match that up to the receiver so we get the best performance for what we're paying for from the speakers. And an analogy that I like to use is, we want to, I guess in automotive terms, we want to match the engine to the vehicle. If I took the engine from a Honda Civic and I put it into a dump truck, it might move, but it's not going to move very well. It's just not an appropriate way to make it go. Same thing would be true if I had a really inexpensive receiver and I tried to pair that with some very big, difficult to drive speakers. It's not going to sound as good. And on the flip side of that, if I had tiny little speakers and I put in a huge receiver with lots of power, I'm never going to get the money back out of that. So when we discuss the speakers that we're using, the things we want to consider is, number one, is it suitable power for the speaker itself? And most manufacturers, if you look at the specifications, they'll have suitable amplifier power range listed. So we want to make sure that it's within that range. And then the The other thing is we kind of want to keep it, because power is not the only consideration for the receiver. Other things come into play, whether it's the processing that's in there, your DSP, the digital signal processor, and that's what takes the incoming signal from the digital, it separates it and puts it out onto the speaker that it's supposed to be in. And then there's the converters, the digital to analog converters. We only hear things in analog, so the more money that they put into that conversion, the more smooth and the more natural it sounds. These things impact the price of the receiver, and although I know it's not apples to apples, what we really like to see, I call it a rule of thirds, and generally a good way to look at it is you want to spend about a third on the receiver that you have spent on your speakers, and generally that'll get you into the right range, and then you can narrow it down. And finally, what music platform is built in? And what I mean by that is this, is these days almost everybody gets their music from a streaming platform, whether it's Pandora or Prime or Spotify, and even in basic receivers this day with a Bluetooth connection, you could stream music to one room. But if we want to get beyond one room, say we also want to have sound on the covered patio or in the master bath in the dining room, we want to have a cohesive interface so we can control all the areas from one simple to use control. We want to be able to get independent as well as grouped control. We really want this to be as easy as possible. So if we're looking to expand it beyond our home theater, the two main platforms to consider are HEOS, which HEOS is built into Denon and Marantz devices, or Sonos. And Sonos isn't built directly into devices, but both Sony ES and Onkyo make receivers that are built for Sonos. So basically you take an additional Sonos component, a Sonos port, and it combines with the receiver to work like one, so the app will control it. The beauty of this and why we want to do this is, like let's say dining room, covered patio, they're like right off of the great room, which is where we've got our surround sound, and now we're playing music in the great room, but we also want to hear it outside. We could use the HEOS app or the Sonos app and turn that zone on too and combine them, and now I'm playing the same thing. Or I could add on the dining room. Now I've got all three, or I need an easy way to do this. So if we're going to go beyond one room, we really want to think about how we're going to control this. So that's our 5 top things for how we choose an AV receiver. Hopefully you found this information useful. Also, if you have any questions you'd like to see answered, please leave a comment down below and we'll go through those and we'll try to answer as many as we can. So this is Matt from Premier Electronic Solutions. Thank you very much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe.